On Labor Day weekend, there's still work to be done for the Washington Spirit. Their playoff spot is secure, yes, but home field advantage is still within reach for Mark Parsons' club in their regular season finale. Win tonight, and the Spirit can finish no lower than third. Win tonight and get help from the Houston Dash tomorrow at Toyota Park in Chicago against the Red Stars, and Crystal Dunn and company can give an undefeated home mark a postseason test. But beating the now two-time NWSL Shield-winning Seattle Reign has been easier said than done. In the last 16 games, it's only been accomplished one single solitary time. But the architects of that 3-0 destruction were the Washington Spirit. The demolition site was here at the SoccerPlex in July 18th, thanks to second-half goals from Amanda DaCosta, Crystal Dunn, and Christine Nairn. 90 minutes are in front of us. We'll clear up the playoff picture or run it down to the wire. I'm Michael Minnick alongside Danielle Malagari. And Danielle, we've seen this team play very well at home. They're going to need their best performance tonight to beat a hungry Seattle team that, even though they clinched the 1 seed, wants to avenge that 3-0 loss.
Yeah, thankfully, though, it does matter if they win, but it doesn't knock them out of the playoffs. So they've secured at least one of the top 4 spots for the playoffs. But I think tonight everyone's just so thrilled with the atmosphere here at the Maryland SoccerPlex.
Yeah, sold out crowd. It's been sold out for 4 or 5 days now. Spirit Hill is packed. The stands below us are packed. The stands across from us are packed. The young player tunnel is about 2/3 of the way to midfield. Everybody's excited to see this team play, and they're hoping it's not the last time because, as I said in the open, you win tonight, you get help in Houston tomorrow. We're back here next Sunday for a semifinal.
Sure, and wouldn't we all want to be back here for another match, because the Spirit have just put on fantastic performances this summer at the Maryland SoccerPlex. And obviously, last year when they did go out to Seattle for the semifinal round, it was a great game. But why not have it here? We'd love to have another great game here at the SoccerPlex.
Yeah, 2 teams in Seattle and Washington that have not lost at home, so that home field advantage extra important, I think, for those two.
Exactly, absolutely.
Spirit 6-0-3 here at the Plex as the 2 teams come through the player tunnel here. And Danielle, let's run through the table. Seattle's clinched that number 1 seed. They're on 40 points.
Sure.
Chicago's on 32. FC Kansas City did their job midweek. They defeated Sky Blue FC 3-2 to put pressure on the Spirit, to force them to win. And then Portland finishes on 23 points after their loss to Western New York last night. Houston's got 23 points entering their last game tomorrow. And then Western New York 23, Sky Blue FC 22, and Boston 15. Those 3 teams done for the year.
Sure, absolutely. And, with a tie or a loss or a win, whatever is going to happen tonight, we will know who's going to be playing who, but where. Who's going to be playing where. So, we're just really excited about the 90 minutes that's ahead of us.
Yeah, the 2-3 game will be either Chicago or Washington hosting. 1:30 next Sunday on Fox Sports. And then the second semifinal at Seattle, we know that for sure, 9:30 Eastern time, that again on September the 13th. And then the final, October the 1st in Portland, neutral site for the 2 teams that win the semifinal game.
Sure, and we kind of touched on that, in pregame. Just that's a long break going from a semifinal to a final. So how are whoever makes it into the final, how are they going to keep the players sharp? How are they going to keep them focused with such a big gap between those 2 games?
Yeah, the opposite of the problem they had during the World Cup, where you had, basically you're playing 7-8 games in a month. Now you're playing, a semifinal and you're waiting 2.5 weeks before you play the final. Seattle, as I mentioned, has been very, very good, as they were last year. Just the 1 loss in the last 16 games. And yes, you can point at the return of Rapinoe and Solo for that, but it's been like the Spirit with Crystal Dunn. The players that did not play in the World Cup, Kim Little, Jess Fishlock, Kottmeyer filling in for Solo and goal, Kendall Fletcher, that have made this team go.
Sure, and they've been incredibly consistent over the past 2 seasons, so it's huge for everybody on the Seattle Reign, those that return for this season, to keep that consistency going into this season, and they've done a fantastic job.
Other big storyline we're following tonight is Crystal Dunn's chase of Kim Little's goal-scoring record.
Yeah.
Little had 16 goals last year. Dunn comes in on 15. After, again, as we said before, not scoring at all last year, she scores 15 goals this year.
Exactly.
And had a fantastic game on national TV against Portland last week.
Sure, and obviously she started as as an outside back last year for the Spirit, and now this year as a center striker, a wide striker for the Spirit. So she's just made such a huge impact. Obviously, it was a bummer for her not to be called in with the national team for the World Cup, but I think she's made a name for herself this season with the Spirit.
Big roar for the starting lineup being introduced right now. We'll go through them for you. Hope Solo's in goal for Seattle. She's only won one club match all time in Washington, D.C. Stephanie Cox, Rachel Coursey, Warren Bruns, Kendall Fletcher have been a pretty solid four across the back all year for Laura Harvey's club. Keelan Winters, Jess Fishlock, Ellie Reed, expected to play midfield, and then Kim Little, Merritt Mathias, and Megan Rapino up top.
Sure, and going into this game, we weren't sure if they were going to rest some of their bigger names, but they absolutely are not doing that, and they're coming out guns blazing, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that throughout. I think it's the right move. I think you've got to stay sharp for the playoffs,
absolutely,
especially if you're going to play the Spirit again.
Sure.
Washington's lineup tonight. Ashlyn Harris gets the nod in goal. They also have pretty much kept the same back four during the stretch run. Catherine Reynolds, Estelle Johnson, the rookie Megan Oysters played every minute of every game this year, and another rookie, Whitney Church. Mm-hmm. In the midfield, I think it's a surprise tonight. Angela Salem starting for just the second time since Holly Krieger's return.
Sure. That's going to have a little bit of an effect on the midfield, but not having Lohman in there, we'll just see how it works today.
She'll play next to Christine Nair and Holly Krieger. Up top, the front three is Diana Matheson, Crystal Dunn, and Francisco Ortega. We'll step aside for a minute for the national anthem. Be back with 90 minutes of soccer here from the Plex. Stay with us. National anthem concluded here at the Maryland SoccerPlex, and a good one. That girl sang her heart out.
Yeah, she did. It was also obviously the second time we're hearing that. She did it in pregame, and what a phenomenal singer.
Two teams shaking hands right now with our officiating crew. Brandon Artis has the middle this evening. Michael Pearson, Adrian McDonald are the referee assistants. Danielle Chesky is the fourth official. Lineups for you again for Seattle. It's Solo, Cox, Coursey, Barnes, and Fletcher in the back. Winters, Fishlock, and Reed in the midfield. Little, Mathias, and Rapino up top. For Mark Parsons in the Spirit, Ashlyn Harris in goal. Reynolds, Johnson, Oyster, and Church across the back. Salem, Nairn, and Krieger in the midfield. Matheson, Dunn, and Ortega up top. Benches tonight for Washington. Caprice Didasco is a scratch. Everybody else is healthy and ready to go. Kelsey Weiss, the backup goalkeeper, she was listed as probable in the injury report, but she's ready to go. Josephine Chukwananye, Amanda DaCosta, who scored in the last meeting between these two teams. Joanna Lohman, Haley Rassa, whose birthday it is today. Tori Huster, and Ngozi Akobi, the reserves for Mark Parsons. For Laura Harvey, Haley Kottmeyer, who had a very good season in goal, filling up Hope Solo as the backup. Field subs are Danielle Foxhoven, Mariah Bullock, Michelle Cruz, Amber Brooks, Katrine Vi, and Kirsten Dahlstream. Pair of 11s captaining their sides tonight. Keelan Winters and Natalie Krieger shaking hands in midfield for the coin toss. And what a perfect night for soccer this is.
Sure. I mean, there's still people pouring into the gates. An hour and a half when the gates open, an hour before the game opened, I mean, pretty much the seats were already filled at that point. So I think everyone's just really excited to see, a great match for the next 90 minutes.
First kick being given, and back to Ellie Krieger, who gives a smile and a handshake. Spirit players are going through warm-ups. Mark Parsons again in long sleeves. We had a bit of a laugh at his expense this year, but he wore that long sleeve blue shirt against Seattle last time in the 3-0 win. Said it was his good luck shirt because he made the trade on draft day. to get a couple pieces.
Sure.
Get Whitney Church. So he wore it. This time he's going with more of like a lighter tone of long sleeve shirt, but still a long sleeve shirt. I guess you can't get the Englishman out of him where he feels like he has to wear long sleeves to coach even though it's 80 degrees.
Yeah. Are we the only ones that talk about what the coaches wear? But as a coach, myself, in high school and club and everything, I'm very, very superstitious. So I like to always go with the same outfit. I'm sure he's probably thinking the same thing.
For balance's sake, Seattle coaches are wearing the blacks today with the white stripe around the chest and the initials, which I always like the initials of the coaches on the shirt. That's kind of a cool thing.
Total European.
Teams breaking right now, and a roar from the Spirit Squadron and Spirit Hill as the Spirit will attack the scoreboard end here in the first half. Great atmosphere here. It can't be said enough. Seattle in the highlighter green with the purple in the front, purple shorts, purple socks. Spirit in the blue tops with the red on the shoulders, red shorts, and red socks. And it will be the league's leading scorer and MVP frontrunner Crystal Dunn that will get us underway with Christine Nairn in the center circle. The last 90 minutes here in D.C., the regular season underway as Angela Sam gets the first touch and goes back to Whitney Oyster. The Spirit trying to cement that home playoff game in Seattle, looking to stay in form as they head towards that number 1 seed in the playoffs. Reynolds on the left side. Slip from Reed. Now the feet of Matheson looking for it for Crystal Dunn, who's showed up wide early. Touch for now for Nairn, but Fishlock gets in first and drops it back to Hope Solo. I mentioned that 3-0 win, Danielle, for the Spirit over the Reign. That was the last game before the national team players came back. Allie Krieger and Ashley Harris were honored before that game, as were Matheson and the other World Cup players. But big difference when Hope Solo and Megan Rapinoe are on the side.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. And also a big difference when Krieger and Ashlyn are here as well.
Reynolds lofting that throw in, headed by Ellery Reed, now kicked on by Fletcher. Touched on by Little. Reynolds gets a piece of it. Another major absence for the Seattle Reign in that game was Kendall Fletcher, only game she's missed all year. Seattle has really struggled without her in the lineup, and I think that really affected their chemistry in that 3-0 win a couple months ago.
Sure. I mean, she's such a solid defender, and she's so consistent for the back line.
Sailing back for Estelle Johnson, now square for Oyster. We touched on Angela Salem getting the nod tonight, just the second time she started since Allie Krieger returned to the lineup. And you can see her sitting in front of that back four right now. Certainly, I think she's an answer to Little, Fishlock, Rapinoe, these great attacking mids that Seattle has.
Yes, and Angela Salem, she just likes to battle.
Yep.
I mean, she does kind of the hard work that defensive center midfielders are supposed to do. Sometimes defensive midfielders are supposed to do the dirty work. Just battle in there and absolutely just dominate the midfield.
Krieger wins that battle, finds the feet of Francisco Ortega. Dunn coming back for it. Nice ball into space for Allie Krieger. First time crossing low, cleaned up by Corsi, but not very convincingly, but picked a good spot as it'll trickle wide and be picked up by Megan Rapinoe. Ortega forced to defend and does well, sticks a foot in, knocks it out for a Seattle throw here in the third minute.
And this is the one thing, Allie Krieger getting that service off. This is the one thing I guess I don't like about her being in the middle of the field. We don't really get to see her on the flank much and getting many of those services in from the center of the field like she would as an outside back.
Krieger had 3 shots against Portland. Those are her first 3 shots of the year, so it seems like she's integrating herself a little bit better in that midfield position, getting more comfortable. And as we touched on in previous matches, she played there in college. It's not like it's new to her, but it's a position she hasn't played in a couple of years.
Yeah, it does take a little time to adjust.
Fishlock on her own 18, back for Hope Solo. Giveaway, though, to Crystal Dunn on the end line. Cross in behind Nairn, headed out by Fishlock. And I was just about to say Hope Solo is one of the best goalkeepers in the world with her feet, and then she does that. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, it looked as if when she struck it, she was just slightly off balance.
Krieger to the feet of Dunn, back for Nairn, in Nairn territory, she'll try the shot, and it gets by Solo and inches wide of the near post. Christine Nairn, where she likes to be, doing what she likes to do.
And you know what? I don't mind Christine Nairn taking that sort of shot from about 25 yards out on Hope Solo. Certainly challenge her early, 3 minutes in, make her be really good, which she is. We know she's able to make those types of saves.
I mean, I feel like the book on Christine Nairn from that distance is pretty well known. Really surprised she was that open. Counter from Matthias. Touched back by Estelle Johnson and Ashlyn Harris to get her first touch. It'll be left-footed. High into the air towards Diana Matheson. Headed in the middle and won by Keelan Winters. Turned over to Reynolds. And now back in the 18, and Harris will try again. Tells her team to get wide. Oyster backpedaling. She'll get a touch here. Pressure from Rapinoe. Forces it back to Harris. Won by Fishlock. Little now. Stephanie Cox. No Beverly Yanez tonight, the third straight match for Seattle, their leading scorer. Hoping to have her back by next Sunday's semifinal match. Reed on the top of the 18. Played inside. Touch now and a tumble from Merritt Matthias and no call. Cox under pressure from Ordega will drop it back. Cleaned up by Lauren Barnes. Left for Kim Little. Marked by her former club teammate with the ring, Christine Nairn. Now Cox. Tackle from Krieger. Disrupts play. Allows Nairn to get a touch temporarily, but turn right back over to Rapinoe.
I always forget that Christine Nairn started her career at Seattle.
Cross deflected and a miss it there from Catherine Reynolds, and that could have easily been an own goal. Instead, it's a corner, and Megan Rapinoe, one of the best in the world, will jog over to take it. Spirit are sniffing out a short corner here with Kim Little there as Matheson will come over to mark. Ordega also available short at the edge of the 18. Hand up and a serve from Rapinoe towards the near post. Flicked on by Corsi. Will stay in play here on the near sideline, and Catherine Reynolds will shepherd it out for a throw-in. It'll be Seattle's ball as the Spirit were the players that got the last touch on the header. Keelan Winters. Marked by Crystal Dunn. And forced back to Rachel Corsi. Barnes in the center circle for Seattle will switch fields. Pick out Stephanie Cox. Cox's ball headed on by Kim Little towards Ellie Reed at the top of the 18. Reed on her left foot, looking right, and Fletcher was there, but the pass was not hit with enough pace. And Reynolds will start the attack for Matheson, and Dunn is offside. Leads the league and adds another one.
just slightly offside, probably about a foot or two. But that would have been a great ball. I think if Matheson would have just put a little bit more pace on it, or played it obviously a touch sooner, Crystal Dunn would have been off to the races.
We mentioned the attractive crowd, the big crowd. These are teams that like to play attractive soccer. Mm-hmm. They'll work it around. They're not going to play long ball. You're going to see a lot of skill and flair and creativity from these two clubs. Matheson with a back heel. She thought Reynolds, I believe, was overlapping for her. Run didn't come. Throw for Fletcher, taken quickly. Headed high by Angela Salem. And off of Matheson for another rain throw. Fishlock back for Lauren Barnes. Now Corsi. Barnes will retrieve it. There's a token pressure from Ordega, who now will step off as the Spirit make their defensive shape. Winners left for Megan Rapinoe. Chip up the line looking for the run of Little. Oyster has the better position. And gives it away in the box. Chance now for Seattle. Cutback. Shot is blocked by Estelle Johnson. Second chance for Little, blocked again by Oyster. Third chance for Fishlock, and she hits high and wide. Megan Oyster was in no man's land there. Wanted to let that go out for a goal kick. Ran out of space, had to do something, and Kim Little did a great job there to pressure her.
Yeah, in that moment, I'm thinking, what is she doing? Obviously, she's trying to seed out of bounds. Megan Oyster is kind of known for giving up a lot of corner kicks. But I think in that moment, just tap it out of bounds. Right. If it's not rolling, it doesn't have the pace, just be safe and tap it out. That's somebody I would not want to see shooting on Ashlyn Harris from that range and Kim Little.
Spirit a bit fortunate there not to be 1-0 down. Matheson double teamed and dispossessed by Kendall Fletcher. Chouch outside from Matthias, broke it up and cleared now by Reynolds, dumped into space for Crystal Dunn. Corsi will knock it out for a throw, and that's what Oyster should have done.
Yes.
Quick throw for Reynolds. Corner whipped in, headed out by the Rain. Second chance knocked in by Krieger. Now Fletcher. Reed gives it back to Fletcher. Appeal for offside, but Matthias will be flagged here on the near side. Estelle Johnson had stepped up at the last second. Spirit will just play on. Whistle will not blow. We'll just stay in the flow here. Nairn showing for it. Allie Krieger. Give away a right to Megan Rapinoe, but her second touch lets her down, allows Whitney Church back into play. Church will look for it now off the return pass from Megan Oyster. Flick from Dunn. Picked up on the other end by Cox, and she'll drop it for Corsi. Fishlock for Matthias. Good slide tackle from Estelle Johnson. Matthias will let it go for a throw.
Very well-timed slide by Estelle Johnson. You certainly never want to see a center back isolated one-on-one. You know, if that ball would have gone beyond Estelle Johnson, that would definitely not have been good news for the Spirit.
Well, and no disrespect to Merritt Matthias, but, you know, if you had to pick your poison there, I think you might pick Merritt Matthias rather than Little or Fishlock or Rapinoe.
Yes.
Great ball inside, and Merritt Matthias almost makes me eat my words. Good volley over the top.
The Spirit have to be a little bit better. Obviously, that ball, kind of an uncharacteristic giveaway by Allie Krieger in the middle of the field. They just have to be a little bit smarter out of the back. I mean, I remember in previous games here at the Plex, just a little bit more creativity out of the back as well, but just got to be smart with these square balls through the midfield.
That's a very nice hook route there. She started downfield and then cut back to get the ball from Johnson. Switch right now and out of the path of Wardega and Church coming forward. It'll be a throw for Stephanie Cox. Good pace this first 10 minutes, but no goals to speak of here, Danielle. What we hoped for and expected, really, from this one. Both teams are going for it. And I think Seattle's situation aids that because, yes, they want to win, but there's not pressure on them. They can play an open and free game and not have to worry too much about it.
Sure. But like you said earlier, they're not resting their big guns. They want to continue to flow as a team, continue to, get better every single game if that's a possibility.
Well, and with the Women's World Cup having broken up these teams for a couple months, there is value to building chemistry still at this late point in the season. And because you haven't played together for 20 games, you played together for maybe 6 or 7 games.
And obviously it's going to be a lot like this next year, during the Olympics.
Right. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who Joe Ellis takes next year. Of course, the Olympics rosters are smaller, but you have some attrition with retirements of Lauren Holiday, Shannon Box, players like that. So, you have to figure this is about for Crystal Dunn, right? The way she's playing right now.
Yes.
Wide on cue, a ball inside. Krieger's in the 18, and the flag comes up late on Allie Krieger.
That was pretty close. I wasn't sure if she was offsides in that moment. I'd like to see a replay of that.
Be a free kick for Hope Solo here in the 12th minute. She'll take it short for Corsi.
But those runs, obviously being called offsides on that play for Allie Krieger, those are the types of runs you want to see her making because she is dangerous if she is able to get in behind or, on the flank with many of her services.
Well, and circling back to the point about Angela Salem, when she can hold, that allows Krieger to release a little bit more.
Sure.
Oyster for Johnson. Now short for Angela Salem. Nairn will show, get the ball. Forced back by Fishlock to Estelle Johnson.
Very good patience by the Reign.
Reynolds for Salem. Nice cut back inside. And a switch right. Picks out Francisco Ordego's first touch is heavy. She goes down in a heat. Play on given here as Krieger will push forward up the right side. Cross from Allie Krieger in behind, looking for the run of Crystal Dunn. And coming back to do the hard work as usual is Keelan Winters. Corner kick.
And I think those types of services are going to be dangerous all night, especially with the speed of Ordega and Crystal Dunn getting behind. Those sort of diagonal balls are certainly going to be dangerous.
Here's the ball to Krieger, and that's close.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Corner for Christine Nairn in the Spirit, and I joked about it on Twitter during the Portland game, Danielle. Crystal Dunn has become a target for it. She scored 2 headers off corners.
Yes.
See if she's the target again here. Marked by Matthias right now is Crystal Dunn. 2 hands in the air from Christine Nairn. Serve coming in towards the middle, towards Oyster this time, headed out by Winters. Second chance now, volleyed in by Whitney Church, kept alive by Krieger, and cleared finally by Jess Fishlock. Lots of time and space for Reynolds. Megan Oyster playing as the left back right now will get a touch. Right-footed ball chipped in by Oyster beautifully and nearly brought down by Ortega. That would have been a heck of a first assist of Megan Oyster's career.
Sure, and what a great run by Ortega. And this is where the Spirit are going to be dangerous when the three strikers do make these different types of runs off of the ball, just not straight runs forward. I think those balls are going to be dangerous all night for the back line of Seattle.
Up so into the night sky, headed by Allie Krieger. Fishlock brings it down. Winters will be caught off by Barnes. Little in tight space will hold off Krieger. Go left for Megan Rapinoe right at the center stripe. Good turn from Pino. Trying to shake. Francisco Ortega, ball inside for Little now. Marked by Angela Salem. Left again, it comes for Rapinoe. Making runs inside are Reed and Matthias. Marked by Whitney Church. Rapinoe will go towards the end line. Play a good cross in. Headed out as Fletcher was the target. Second chance for Fishlock. Volley for Fishlock! And what an absolute beauty from Jess Fishlock. Her 8th goal of the year, and that might have been the best.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. What a great finish. A great first-time touch off of her thigh to just drop it straight to her foot, near post on Ashlyn Harris. Obviously, for Ashlyn Harris, not a type of goal she'd want to give up, but I don't really think there was much she could have done. What a great finish by Fishlock. Unfortunately for the Spirit, that's definitely the place you don't want to clear it. But Reynolds was in the right place to get that clearance. There was just nobody from the midfield for the Spirit to get a touch.
Here it is again. Bring it down on the thigh.
Yeah,
let it fly.
Right. I like it. There's really nothing Ashlyn Harris could have done with that shot.
And it's funny, too, because for all the great play Seattle has made, their 40th goal of the year now, that's just the second time they scored in the first 15 minutes of a game this year. Seattle this year, 9-1-2 when scoring first. Just the one loss. Well, and when your record's that good, of course all your stats like that are going to look good.
Absolutely. Not great odds for the Spirit, but there's still plenty of game to play.
Spirit have done this before. They've conceded first now in 9 games. They've won 2 of those. They've dug themselves out of holes, most notably the home opener against FC Kansas City, 1-0 down early, scored 3 unanswered to win that one. Also the game here against Portland, Io scores 18th minute, 2 unanswered to win 2-1. Krieger for Nairn. Flick with the outside of the foot into space for Crystal Dunn, and the flag is up on Crystal Dunn. And that one, I'm not so sure about.
I definitely think she was even, but she absolutely got a step on Corsi. I don't think she was offsides in that. I think she was just faster.
Well, and you mentioned how open this game has been. That's not going to change now. The Spirit, who need a win to have a chance at a home game, will have to really come at Seattle now down a goal. Free kick now for Hope Solo. Matthias gets a piece of it. Johnson picks up the second ball. Given away, though, to Winters. Juggling act from Winters. She'll go left for Rapinoe. Scutch now into space, but too far for the run of Ellie Reed. Good idea as Reed was open, but be a goal kick in the end for Ashlyn Harris.
And this is not a team where you want to give those types of balls away in the middle of the field. Seattle's is such a great team all around that those are going to be dangerous balls in the middle of the field for the Reign to pick up. In that moment, Estelle Johnson just got to be a little bit smarter, clear it, and then you guys can step up the field, regain your formation, and go from there.
Seattle already has 5 shots in the first 17 and a half minutes of this game. And some of them, like you said, have been on second, third chances.
Which obviously the goal was.
Little blocked by Salem. Touch from Dunn to find Krieger in the center circle, and now back for Oyster. Pressuring is Matthias. Oyster picks out Whitney Church on the right side. Inside for Krieger. What a tough task for Whitney Church to be marking Megan Rapinoe over there.
Yes.
Reynolds now. Left for Matheson. Krieger. Salem for Oyster.
I just really love the patience of the Reign. They just drop back. They keep all their numbers behind the ball and really make the Spirit be good to get through them.
Dunn trying to find a hole, does so, goes for Nairn. On the left side, it'll come for Krieger. Back again for Salem. Right for Whitney Church. And now Oyster. The game continues.
It's good possession right now, but it's a lot more side to side.
Nairn tried to risk there to pick up Matheson and Fletcher, and Barnes combined to break that up. Lauren Barnes on the ball now. Will go square for Stephanie Cox. Inside now for Keelan Winters. The Reign captain picks out Rapinoe on the left side. Ortega's done a lot more defensive work than I think we're used to seeing her do, and that's because of Rapinoe's presence. She's had to.
And I've seen, the Spirit have done a good job at putting a lot of pressure on the back line. Obviously, it's not 100% high pressure, but they have, the Reign have coughed up a couple of balls out of the back as well so far.
1-0 Seattle, and a screamer from Jess Fishlock in the 15th minute. The difference right now, Michael Minnick here alongside Daniel Malagari. Our home finale of the regular season, the Spirit hoping to extend their homestand by one playoff game. They'll need a win today to do that and help from Houston against Chicago tomorrow. Seattle in the Catbird seat, the number 1 seed for the second straight year. They'll play semifinal at Memorial Stadium against the 4 seed, whether that's Washington or FC Kansas City remains to be determined, and then the final on neutral ground in Portland. Good turn from Ortega. Advantage being played up the right side as the Nigerian goes to work. Takes a tangle there, and that should be a foul. Instead, it'll just be a corner.
And what a great recovery by Megan Rapinoe. Obviously, Ortega was off to the races with her touches in, but Megan Rapinoe did a great job to recover and get a foot in.
Referee's done a good job, I think, of playing advantage in a couple situations tonight and letting play go.
Yeah, there's absolutely no, you hear the fans asking for a foul, but there's really no reason. Corner kick is just as good.
Ortega short, Dunn short. Church on the post. Everybody else making runs from the top of the 18. Serve from Nairn inside, punched by Hope Solo. Second look for Estelle Johnson. Right-footed ball floated in. Headed by Church towards the sideline and out for a Seattle throw. Actually, it will be a Washington throw. Defensive backed up, and now Reynolds will come up and take the throw.
Megan Oyster did a good job at competing for that, but if she would have won it, it would have been 1 versus 4. The Reign did a good job at stepping out on it and not allowing her to really get anything in.
Krieger gives away to Little. She looks to see how much help she has. Pulls it for Fishlock. Right, it comes for Ellie Reed. By Reynolds. Reed's versatility is a nice thing for Laura Harb to have. She can play outside back, she can play outside mid like she is tonight. And no matter where she is, she's going to give you good tactical awareness, good defense, and she can get forward and hit a nice cross as well.
Right.
Nairn, appeal for a handball from Little, not given. The 2 players that were traded for each other going to work now, but Nairn will drop it back for Ashlyn Harris. And I mentioned it the last time these two hooked up. That's a trade that certainly benefited both clubs.
Absolutely.
Kim Little, I think, was never going to play here. So you get rid of her rights. You get Nairn coming off a really good rookie year, and she's grown into a player that I think is on the fringes of the national team.
Yeah, and like I said earlier in the game, I almost forget that Nairn had her rookie season at Seattle because she's just been such a huge player in the middle of the park for the Spirit for the last 2 seasons.
Nairn goes down there, play on given as Winters knocks it forward. Yeah, you think of Nairn in kind of that Tori Huster, Allie Krieger, Ashlyn Harris category as a founder of this team, not someone that came in last year.
Yeah.
And part of that, too, is because this roster has turned over so much this year. I mean, you look at this back 4, and none of them were here last year.
Yeah.
2 rookies and 2 players you traded for, and Estelle Johnson and Catherine Reynolds.
Sure, and that's huge for Mark Parsons to be able to, get into the playoffs the second year in a row with a lot of new members of this team. That just goes to show he's done his research and is really putting the time in to make sure he continues to build this program.
And that's such a tough thing to change over a winning team on the fly and know what levers to pull to make them better.
Sure.
Rapinoe now, dispossessed by Ortega. Tangle and fight here. Ortega will give it to Nairn in the center of the park. Crowd appreciating the physicality of Francisco Ortega's defending there. Picked off by Cox, who will join the attack with Rapinoe. Stephanie Cox's first-time cross all the way over to Catherine Reynolds, who will take a touch and knock it forward. Step and win from Fletcher, gives possession away to Krieger. Spirit looking to counter as Naird opens up left. And Krieger just an inch off from hitting that ball in stride.
Certainly the right idea. But, I really like what Seattle Reign is doing defensively. If they lose it kind of within their midfield, they just kind of drop off and put numbers behind the ball, but they're really all over the back line and the midfield, in their attacking third and forcing these turnovers and getting some good services off from that left flank.
Great switch left for Rapinoe, marked by Whitney Church. Little available short. Deflected there, picked up in the box by Merritt Mathias, broken up by Krieger. Second chance for Rapinoe, and Harris nearly made a great save, but Megan Rapinoe's shot was just that much better. 2-0, 25th minute.
Yeah, as soon as it touched Rapinoe's foot, I was like, okay, here we go. We've certainly seen her score from that range in the past. It looked as if, I believe Ashton Harris did get something on it, but I think it just had way too much pace for her.
Rapinoe's 5th goal of the year, 16th of her NWSL career in Seattle, cruising up 2-0 against a team that hasn't lost at home this year.
Yeah, so, what a great performance so far by the Reign.
And again, just a little slow to close. Ashton Harris nearly had that.
Yeah, and this is something that Mark Parsons can talk about at halftime. The pressure at the top of the 18 has got to be better. Both Fishlock and Rapinoe just had too much time on the ball to set themselves up for a good shot.
Entering tonight, the Spirit had played 810 minutes at home. They conceded 6 goals.
Wow.
Seattle has now scored 2 in 25 minutes.
And you gotta think, Laura Harvey, last time they were here, she was not thrilled with their performance.
No.
So obviously she's got to be happy with the product that they're putting out in the first 26 minutes tonight. And I'm sure she probably talked about that in pregame. Last time you came here, it just wasn't our day, but let's make it different.
And if this result stands, this will be the first-round matchup, so a chance to make a statement and a big one for Seattle.
And what we said earlier was, the Reign are unbeaten at Memorial Park, correct?
Yes.
So
all time.
Yeah, all time. So that would definitely be kind of an uphill battle for anybody, going into the semifinals of the NWSL this fall.
Spirit have done well there historically. Their only trip there this year didn't go very well. May 2nd, they lost 3-1. That was without the national team players, so you can take that with a grain of salt. But last year, they go up at the end of last year. They get a 1-1 result, and then they have the lead in the semifinal before Seattle rallies, gets goals from Little from the penalty spot in the 72nd minute and Rapinoe in the 82nd minute to win it and get to the final. Through ball, broken up by Estelle Johnson, touched on by Salem. And, of course, even though Seattle was the #1 seed, they had to play that game at Starfire Stadium just because of a conflict with the Royals. So even though they were the home team, they were out of their fortress and they lost to FC Kansas City.
Yes.
So as I said, if things stay the way they are, it'll be Chicago hosting FC Kansas City regardless of the result tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern Time next Sunday, and Washington heading to Seattle at 9:30 Eastern Time. If things stay the way they are. Lots of time for the Spirit to get back into this one. Estelle Johnson, left for Reynolds. We've seen some crazy stuff at the SoccerPlex. Scoring 3-out answer against Seattle would be up there.
Yes.
But it can be done. Already been done this year.
Yeah.
Second half of that meeting here earlier this year against Seattle. Left it comes for Reynolds. Led by Kendall Fletcher. Crystal Dunn has had a couple half looks, as Ortega was one that challenged for that one, but haven't seen much of the league's leading scorer so far in this one. A couple touches, but not many.
Yeah, she had a few in the first 10, 15 minutes or so, but they really have not. Seattle has done a really good job at dropping and getting numbers behind the ball, and those longer balls, they're really sniffing out and not allowing Crystal Dunn to use her speed to get in behind.
Kendall Fletcher is shaken up, and immediately a couple of substitutes are getting ready on the Seattle sideline. And as we mentioned earlier, Fletcher's been a talisman for this team. When she plays, they're very successful. When she doesn't play, they've struggled. In the last 2 years, she's missed 5 games. She's not played 90 in 5 games. They've only won 1 of those 5.
Wow.
A win, 2 losses, and 2 draws, including the 3-0 loss to the Spirit here earlier this year.
I think she's a little shaken up. Ortega went in kind of cleats up, not absolutely unintentional. for a 50-50 ball, but Fletcher got the worst of it.
Looks like she's okay, walking under her own power and getting a bottle of water from Danielle Foxhoven. Nodding her head at the coaching staff, so I think she's ready to go. Chance for an unofficial water break here is it's not hot enough for the mandatory cooling break. Both teams are taking advantage of the stoppage here to get going. Fletcher's at fourth official, Danielle Chesky. She's ready to come back in at the signal of our center official, Brandon Artis. Matheson will just throw it back to the rain and get play back underway, and Fletcher's back on. So, 2 Thunderbolts from the rain. Fishlock in the 15th, Rapino in the 25th. The difference right now is Seattle showing why they've been the regular season champs the last 2 years. Nairn going right. It's Ordega turning on the Jets against Stephanie Cox. Tackle from Cox, also broken up by Rapino, and it will be a Spirit throw. Talked about Nairn playing for Seattle. That's the 3 they had in the midfield the first year. Fishlock, Rapino, and Nairn. 3 players that know a thing or two about scoring from distance. Crystal Dunn. Ball inside for Ordega, trying to shield a little, sliding it towards the near post, and easy stuff for Hope Solo. Well, to Rachel Corsi has been another one of these finds for the Reign, 26-year-old defender from Aberdeenshire, Scotland. He's been very good as a center back for Laura Harvey's club. They traded Kat Dynas in the offseason. She was someone that played a lot of minutes there in the first 2 years of this franchise's existence.
I think a little bit of air has been taken out of the Spirit, since that second goal. They certainly have kind of settled back a little bit. Not as much possession as they had before the first 2 goals of the match.
And I'll tell you what, on paper this is meaningless for Seattle, as we've said, but Fishlock and Rapino celebrated like they scored in the World Cup.
Sure.
I mean, you could tell that it meant a lot to them to score in this venue and score in this game.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to see. Every game should be important. You're a professional. Just because it doesn't make a difference in the standings doesn't mean it doesn't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Salem. Left for Reynolds. Touching it by Ellie Reed. Pass through looking for Matheson is deflected. Hope Solo will come out and keep it in touch, and now bring it under 18. We talked about the strength of the Seattle team defending as a group. Hope Solo didn't face more than 1 shot on goal last week. It was a goal for Sky Blue FC. She's only had to make 1 save so far through 32 minutes against a team that features, as we said, the league's leading scorer and Dunn, and a lot of potency in that attacking end. They've done a good job.
Sure, and the best opportunity did come from distance. Obviously, the 2 goals against Ashton Harris as well.
Reed fighting for it against Reynolds, playing it on the floor, broken up by Megan Oyster. Little whips in across towards the far side, brought down and given away. Krieger gets in. Barnes restarting the attack for Cox. Showing up the line is Rapino. Church marking Stephanie Cox, forcing it back for Winters. Good turn in traffic to drop it back. And now it'll come square for Corsi. Fishlock. Ellie Reed. Stumble from Fletcher keeps it in play. Salem will win it for Matheson. Nairn. Matheson. Not a ton of support in front of her. Forced back to Nairn. Now Salem. Oyster for Nairn. Switch right. Brought down by Francisco Ordega, who has time and space. In the center, it comes for Nairn. Right for Church. Volleyed into space looking for Crystal Dunn. Barnes is in good position, and she'll hit it hard with the left foot into the stands. Throw in for the Spirit in the 34th minute, trailing 2-0 on goals by Fishlock in the 15th minute, Rapinoe in the 25th minute.
And the more the Spirit get on the ball again, and they continue to switch the point, that's really how they're going to stretch the back line and the center midfielders for the Reign. And I think that's where some of their better opportunities will come from. Just got to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah, I think finishing this half well is going to be huge for the Spirit to get some momentum back, go in the locker room with a little bit of wind in their sails, and come back out for the second half.
Sure.
Rapinoe. Ball inside looking for Matthias, cleaned up by Oyster. Matheson, headed by Fishlock forward, stolen by Nairn in traffic. She'll not be able to find Salem, but nobody in yellow and purple pressuring allows Oyster to come up and get it. Ortega. Nairn. Angela Salem. Left for Crystal Dunn. Reynolds overlapping as Dunn comes inside. Square for Ortega. Her touch is heavy. Stumbled a bit. No foul called on Kim Little, and the ball is clear.
I feel like the play this evening has been pretty clean. I don't think there's been any fouls called so far this evening. So, we're still here with a pretty clean match.
Well, and a couple times we've talked about that they could have called fouls. They played advantage.
Right.
So.
But, typically at this point, maybe you see a couple fouls that put, one of the teams in a decent scoring position with a set piece. But really nothing like that this evening.
Dunn turning on a dime for Salem. Now dumped into space for Matheson. Marked by Barnes. She'll cut inside. Matheson still fighting in the 18. Takes a tumble, and the referee points to the spot.
And
I don't know about that one.
Well, what did I just say? There's really been no set pieces that have really put any teams into any sort of scoring position. But Diana Matheson, she did well to turn Barnes and really battled for that ball. I do think she was taken down from behind, but I don't know if it was malicious. But it is inside the 18, so you just never know if it's going to be called or not.
The last time these two teams met, the Spirit got a PK late. Matheson drew it. She handed the ball to Christine Nair and said, "This is yours."
Yeah.
Matheson has the ball in her hands this time.
And she was the go-to penalty kick player last year. She hit, I think, all but one?
Only been stopped once
year?
in 2 years.
Yep.
But she's going against the master of the PK deception in Hope Solo. Remember what she did against Germany in the World Cup?
I mean, I know. I'm not even playing anymore, and I'm still nervous for both sides.
Two world-class players head-to-head here. Whistle blows. Matheson's penalty is chipped into the top corner. Sits Solo the other way. Game on now, 2-1.
I mean, obviously it was a fantastic shot, a fantastic PK by Matheson, but every single shot this game, every single goal this game has essentially been close to being upper 90. I mean, 3 fantastic strikes here in the first half.
Matheson's 3rd of the year, 19th for the Spirit, 6th against Seattle alone.
Sure, so you don't know how this is going to really turn. A lot of times in soccer you say 2-0 is kind of the worst lead possible in the game, because one goal for the opposing team, and they're back in it, and let's see what the Spirit are capable of putting out for the last 8 minutes here.
That PK is an example of you don't have to kill it.
Exactly.
As long as you put it in the right spot.
Yeah, perfect.
Done with the steal. Matheson now broken up. And of course, the Spirit on Sunday, 2-0 leaders. Portland came back with a great effort, got a 3-3 tie. The Spirit trying to flip the script here on the other team from the Northwest. What a finale we've seen tonight. 3 goals in the first 38 minutes.
This is all you can kind of hope for.
From the names on the billboard. Fishlock, Rapinoe, Matheson, 3 players that everybody here wants to see do good things. And 3 goals scored against number 1 and number 2 for the U.S. national team.
I mean, if any coaches are in the locker room and say, hey, put on a clinic tonight, I think both teams scoring-wise absolutely have done that.
Nairn. Not on the same page there was Ortega, and it comes all the way through for Solo. Clap of the hands from Crystal Dunn there. She can feel her team's gaining some momentum from that penalty kick goal.
And right before Matheson was even taken down, I was about to say, she really hasn't gotten on the ball as much as she normally does. But she's on the left side where she's mostly on the right side for the Spirit. So she's definitely not getting a lot of touches in.
Reynolds trying to shake Winters, cuts back nicely. Leaves it off for Matheson off the deflection from Reed. Inside it comes for Crystal Dunn. Turning on a dime, but broken up well by Fishlock, who clears it towards midfield. Johnson there in support. Oyster stumbles though, but gets enough to break up Rapinoe's run. Now it's Church trying to keep pace with Megan Rapinoe. Rapinoe in the box, on her right foot, marked by Church. Round of applause from the crowd as Church did some really nice work there to come back and cover. Still battling against Whitney Church. Krieger over to help. Cut back towards the top of the 18 is picked up by Angela Salem, and the crowd knows that was a big sequence defensively for the Spirit. And again, Oyster stumbles, yes, but recovers in time to not allow Rapinoe to just knock that one into space for herself cleanly.
Right.
And allow Whitney Church to come back and help. Oohs and ahs as Crystal Dunn goes right for Francisco Ortega. Ortega against Cox in the box. Laid off now. Gets it back from Angela Salem. Spirit will try again.
And this is where Church needs to get up and kind of support them a little bit.
Ortega's ball in low as appeals for offsides were not heard. Barnes will clear, but only as far as Krieger. Nairn inside. Dunn is onside. Shot from Dunn deflected by Solo, I believe, over the top, and it will be a corner.
Well, what a great little, deceptive pass by Christine Nairn. Just put a little bit of backspin on it. Got right behind the back line for Seattle for Crystal Dunn. But what I was saying, Church has to be a little bit better going forward on that flank because Rapinoe is the only player that's staying high. They already have 3 players back for the back line for the Spirit. So Church can absolutely get herself involved a little bit more on that right flank.
Mentioned it earlier, the Spirit have scored 3 goals in their last 6 matches off of corner kicks, 2 for Dunn, 1 for Oyster. Christine Nairn's been the trigger player for all 3 of those. She'll take this one from the near side. Serve in towards the far post, Solo off her line, headed out by Fishlock. Johnson will call off Church. Hit a ball in towards the far post, towards Angela Salem, and caught in the 6 by Hope Solo.
And that's exactly what you want to see from Estelle Johnson, just a one-time ball back into the box. Maybe there's a little bit of a tangle, maybe a little deflection somewhere, but Hope Solo did a great job at coming out and cleaning that up.
Winters past the foot of Kim Little. Krieger for Nairn. Bit of a miss it there from Fletcher. Knuckles towards Dunn, but she can't find Matheson. Off the deflection, though, Matheson gets it back to Crystal Dunn. 1-on-1 at the top of the 18 and standing her ground and taking the punishment for it was a Rain player. And whistle will blow here and play will stop. I believe that's Corsi. I'm looking to see a number. It is Rachel Corsi.
Every time, and I think the reason why, other than the ball Nairn played to Crystal Dunn to get in behind, every time Dunn, right here, there we go. Every time Dunn gets the ball and tries to turn, there's at least 3 Seattle Reign players coming on, 2 in front of her and 1 coming behind. So they're making it very difficult for her, to run at speed with the ball and get behind them on the dribble.
How did the Spirit exploit that?
They just need to continue to keep the ball moving. They do have other options in Matheson and Ortega. I think Ortega needs to get on the ball a little bit more. She's been a little bit quiet since the beginning of the game. But just movement of the ball, and then they'll be able to maybe slot some balls in behind for Crystal Dunn as opposed to her having to turn and take a lot of players on.
Outside of the football for Salem works in Whitney Church. Cross from Church towards Matheson, headed by Kendall Fletcher. Kept alive by Reed. Broken up by Matheson. Nairn can't get a foot in to control it cleanly. And now the counter zone for Little. Stepping by Angela Salem. Matthias to her right. Little look at the second wave of players. Still doesn't like what she sees. And goes all the way back to Barnes. Corsi now for Seattle. 2-1 Reign here in the 44th minute. Matthias inside. Little. Broken up by Krieger. Winners left for Cox. Goals aplenty in this half. Fishlock in the 15th, Rapinoe in the 25th, Matheson's PK in the 37th. All very nice goals.
All very well struck.
Seattle's 2 from distance. Matheson's a chip from the penalty spot. Scramble in the box, and there's a rare foul in this half. Go the Spirit's way here in the 45th minute.
And you have to wonder how many minutes we're going to see for stoppage. 3 goals, a couple of, Reign players struggling to get up off the ground. Maybe 2 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, I think the stoppage is for Fletcher and for Corsi. I think will get us about 2. We'll see what Danielle Chesky's board says in about 5 seconds. Reynolds for Johnson, knocked forward, brought down by Matheson. Nutmeg pass to find Krieger in the center circle. Here's Ortega. Ortega will try it from distance, and that was always going high and wide, and 2 minutes right on the mark.
Yeah, I feel like that sort of shot from Ortega, she's got to be a little bit smarter there. That type of shot with, not as much pace as she probably would have liked is not going to get past Hope Solo. Hope Solo is way too good for that.
And we really haven't seen that part of Ortega's game too much. She's been more of someone that's finishing inside the 18 with her speed and with her skill, not hitting a Nairn shot from 25 yards out. Ball skips over a couple of heads, finds Kim Little, dumped beautifully into space for Ellie Reed. Reynolds in a foot race. Bump there. Was clean. It will be a throw in deep for Seattle.
Absolutely shoulder to shoulder. A little bit of a shove, but, a lot of times when it is good contact, shoulder to shoulder, it's not going to be called.
Fishlock's chip inside, flipped on by the head of Matthias, but Ashlyn Harris saw it all the way. Johnson nearly turns over, but finds Reynolds' feet, knocked forward, headed by Fletcher. Fishlock. Early serve for Rapinoe. Shoulder to with Church and out for a goal kick. Rapinoe, I think, had a little bit of complaint with the job when he Church did on her, but applause for the switch from Fishlock because it was a good ball. Seconds remaining here in the first half as Ashlyn Harris will take her time on this goal kick. And that will do it. 45 more minutes like that, please. That was really good.
Yeah, it was and this is exactly what we wanted. We thought it was going to be a great 90 minutes, for both sides. Certainly the Reign put on a good show for the first 25 minutes with their 2 strikes on goal. And then, what a great finish from Diana Matheson from the spot.
Goals for you, once again, Fishlock in the 15th minute from distance, Rapinoe in the 25th minute from distance. Then Matheson draws a PK and finishes it herself in the 37th minute. So 2-1. Seattle with a break, and like you said, Danielle, I think a lot to play for here in the second half. It's the Spirit, as we said earlier, need to win this game to put pressure on Chicago tomorrow.
Oh, sure. And, I think maybe some of the changes that the Spirit might want to think about going into the second half. Church has done a great job this whole season. Rapinoe's just tearing it up on the left side. She's really been able to start the attack for the Reign. So why not maybe slide Allie Krieger out wide, to really deal with Rapinoe and maybe get a Huster or a Lohman into the middle of the park who have been consistent for the Spirit all year long.
Somebody else we might see in the second half is the birthday girl, Haley Rasso.
Yes.
She's the subject of our profile here at the half. So we'll take a break. We'll step aside, commercials, Haley Rasso, and then we'll have, hopefully, some nice halftime guests for you.
Sure.
Stay with us.
for special recognition. Congrats to Ryan Buell.
That is Joe Alexander. He can play linebacker, he can play defensive tackle. This is a gifted athlete, and obviously he can play special teams.
Josh Morgan, touchdown!
Yeah, I'm from the Gold Coast, Australia, in the state of Queensland. I'm 20 years old. I have two older brothers, Jordan and Lachlan. Yeah, it's been a little bit different, but it's very similar in a lot of aspects. The environment, the girls are all friendly just like at home, and the intensity around here has been the same as back at home. I've only played one game with the side, but the league seems quite similar, so it's really good. It was such an incredible experience, just to be around that team, to be around that environment. It was amazing. I think I learnt a lot being there, and the goal is to hopefully be at the next World Cup in 4 years. I think it's always like that. I mean, the nerves always kick in, whether it's just a club game or an international game, but definitely like at the World Cup, the nerves are flowing there, but always a little nervous, I guess, before a game. I haven't done too much yet, but I haven't been here for long, so I'm hoping to. I do want to get into the main part of DC and look around that city and the White House, and I hear there's a few museums and whatnot to look at, so that would be pretty cool. I'm a winger, either left or right side. Recently I've been playing fullback with the national team, but my preferred position is to play on the wing. I basically just listen to whatever the girls are playing in the change room, so whatever's on their list, I guess. Europe is lovely. I've been to a few parts of Europe, but I'd like to go back. But I'd tell the Americans to go visit Australia. It's pretty amazing.
To win a cruise.
Welcome back to the Maryland Soccer Bus. Michael Minnick here with Danielle Malgary. 2-1 Seattle leads at the half, Danielle. We've seen 3 spectacular goals, but general play, how do you think this game's been played so far?
Very good. I think it was a tough start for the Spirit. I think the rain came out, and we talked about this in pregame, just blazing, and obviously putting 2 quick goals into the back of the net against Ashton Harris, with just 2 fantastic finishes from Pino and Fishlock.
All right, let's take you through first half highlights. Here is the Spirit attacked towards the scoreboard end, and that scoreboard got plenty of work early. Really good early chance for Christine Nairn that just missed the near post and Hope Solo. Seattle really did a nice job of just being persistent. 1 chance here, 2 chances here, good blocks from the Spirit. Fishlock missed here, but I think she found the range a little bit
absolutely
later.
Capitalized on the next bad clearance.
Oyster found herself wide for a rare occasion, played a good ball in there. Ortega just couldn't get on the end of. But here was the goal. Lots of time and space for Fishlock and training ground stuff. Bring it down your thigh, hit it right where you want it.
Exactly.
Bam.
Exactly. She hit it on its way down.
Visit
Here it is again from a different angle. Actually, that was the goal from Rapinoe that Ashton Harris nearly got. Then it was Diana Matheson causing problems, gets tagged up with Lauren Barnes, draws the penalty kick, takes it herself, sends Hope Solo the wrong way. You can see the smile from Hope. She was totally fooled.
Oh, yeah.
Spirit, I thought, really came on after that goal. Crystal Dunn only got a couple of chances, but I think that was her best early. Ortega tried a shot from deep that was always going high and wide. And that's where we are here at the half, Danielle. 2-1 lead for Seattle, and let's go through these playoff scenarios again. The Spirit have to win this game to get a home playoff game. If they lose or if they tie, then it'll be Chicago in the driver's seat as the 2 seed. The Spirit will be the 4. FC Kansas City will be the 3.
Yeah, I mean, either way, like I said earlier, they obviously solidified themselves into the playoffs. You know, no one ever wants to go out and have to play at Seattle in the semifinal round, and considering that they have that unbeaten streak at home. But, you know, there's absolutely tons of time for them. 45 minutes left in this game to put a couple goals in the back of the net, but they've just got to be a little bit smarter going forward to see if they can do it.
All right, 2-1 here, and we'll step aside once again. Our halftime guests are ready to go. We'll be back after this short break with the ladies that make soccer girl problems on Twitter go. Stay with us.
Very exciting.
Hey,
Are you in town for another meeting?
yep, I brought my A team.
Make the most of the weekend before it's gone.
This is my family. This is Joe.
Hi there.
Be a weekender and book your stay at Hampton. Feel the Hampton.
Welcome back to the Maryland Soccer Pros. Michael Minnick here with Danielle Malgari, and between us, 2 of the girls that make soccer girl probs go. Alana and Shannon, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah,
Great.
Tell the story of how this kind of got started at Fairfield.
Well, we all played at Fairfield University on the same team, and during preseason one year, we were all tweeting about like the struggles we were having and laying in bed with ice packs and things like that, and we were cracking each other up. So our team made a Twitter called Soccer Girl Probs, where we all were tweeting our problems as a way to kind of get a laugh out of each other and de-stress. And then it just started to pick up. I guess all of our friends that played on club followed, and pretty soon we had like over 1,000 followers, and then it just kept picking up. So then it became YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. I mean, I'm way older than you guys, and I had the same struggles, you know, through college and club days. So I just get so much of a chuckle out of it, just reliving everything, all those types of things that you guys talk about. And my kids, I'm a coach now, they absolutely love it. And I'm sure, how many T-shirts did you guys sell today? You guys had a booth going on.
It's great. We just looked down and there was girls wearing it, so
Oh,
that
great.
was awesome.
Good.
But it's cool. Everyone can relate to what we put out, so
Sure.
it's just awesome. It's a unifying thing for all soccer girls.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, your first lifting session and you can't sit down, you know, so it's pretty terrible. We've all been there, done that.
And it's great because the girls make us laugh just as much
Yeah.
as we make them laugh.
Sure.
So it's
Do you
fun.
do any like contests or competitions with people if they
All
send
the
anything
time,
in?
yes.
Or
Yep.
Yeah.
Funniest game action shots. We get some
Okay.
bizarre
Got some
ones,
good
things like that.
ones.
So
Okay, good.
Definitely get a kick out of it.
Good.
What's the funniest thing you think you've ever gotten?
Oh my gosh.
Funniest what?
Funniest thing you think you've ever been
Gotten.
has ever been submitted to you?
Oh.
That is hard. I really don't know. Some of the action shots just crack me up because
Yeah,
they
the
will
action
get
shots are
girls like
always
mid
good.
jerseys are being pulled one way, they
Sure.
and then they caption them with like the funniest things. But yeah, on the spot, I don't know.
Sure. And did you really expect it to take off
Right.
like it did?
Not at all. We just did it to have a team bonding thing for preseason, and it just became something like completely surprising, but
Yeah.
amazing. So.
And didn't other things come from it, like soccer mom problems or something like that?
There's now Twitters that are like soccer coach probs,
Oh,
soccer
yeah.
mom probs.
goalie
So
probs.
and we kind of like all like we'll tweet back and forth at each other.
Yeah.
So we love
Good.
that too
Yeah.
because
Good. Have you met any of the other people that run the other handles?
Yeah.
soccer coach probs we met.
Okay.
And soccer dad probs we met.
Yeah, we met them.
So.
Good. So are you going to have a booth at the NSCA convention this year or what?
We went last year.
Okay.
We didn't have a booth though, but we just went to kind of
Okay.
check things out. So we'll probably be there again
Great.
this year again.
Yeah.
It was
Great.
an awesome event. So.
I'm sure you've gotten, people that you'd never expect maybe to say, yeah, I love your site. How much of that do you get? Where maybe you see a pro player, you see a national team player, and they say, yeah, we love you guys.
Oh, that's the coolest thing for us
Yeah.
is we'll go to like certain things and we get to interview them and kind of give girls like the inside scoop on what these players are really like, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I know your Twitter. And for us, that's just like the coolest thing ever. That like Mia
Yeah.
Hamm follows us was like for us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
that's
like when
great.
growing up,
Right.
that's like our idol. So
Yeah.
that kind of stuff still blows my mind.
Sure. And were you guys in town for the U.S. game last night or?
Yeah, we went to the game last night, and then there was a tournament just outside
Sure.
here, so we were at that, the Rush Cup, and
Right.
now we're here. So
Okay, great.
Awesome.
Have you ever been to the SoccerPlex before?
No.
Did you ever play any like club tournaments? Nothing?
At these complexes, Carly said that.
Yeah,
she played,
Carly
so.
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I never have, but I love it. It's just one of the most beautiful fields. So
Right.
this is
Yeah.
great.
We're very lucky here at SoccerPlex.
We biked around DC yesterday.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
the White House, the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
We did the tours too.
Great. Great.
Here with two of the ladies from Soccer Girl Problems, and Michael Mack and Danielle Malagary here. 2-1 Seattle at the half. I saw this was National Hug Your Goalie Day. This is the kind of day where you want to hug your goalie. 3 great goals, a penalty kick.
It's really been amazing.
Yep.
The goalies are doing absolutely amazing this game, so it's been very impressive.
Your goalie might need a hug after a game like this.
Right. Sure.
That is very true.
What has been your impression of this game so far?
We haven't really been able to watch it because we've been taking pictures.
Right.
But the second half, we're going to pay full attention.
And
but
to be able to honestly see around, look around and see all these people sitting on the grass
Yep.
and how packed out in here is like incredible for a National Women's Soccer League game. So this is
amazing.
just, the atmosphere is awesome here. So
yeah.
got some hardcore fans supporting the Spirit.
Great. Well, thanks for coming out. I'm super excited to tell all my kids that are probably down here right now that I got to interview you guys. So thanks for coming out tonight.
We'll make sure we get a picture with them and you, Danielle, so you have evidence, right?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've posted a hashtag Soccer Girl Problems before.
That's great.
So.
We love it. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, sure.
ladies.
Thanks for coming up.
All right, we'll step aside and be back with the second half here at the Maryland SoccerPlex. Stay with us.
Hey.
Are you in town for another meeting?
Yep, I brought my A team.
Make the most of the weekend before it's gone.
This is my family. This is Joe.
Hi there.
Be a weekender and book your stay at Hampton. Feel the Hampton.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back to Maryland SoccerPlex. Michael Nick here with Danielle Malagary. Selfies have been taken. We are ready to go.
I feel like such a teen when I do selfies, but whatever. I don't have a selfie stick, so it's okay.
That's right. Once you reach that point, then
Right,
we might
right.
have to get help. For you.
Exactly. I'm 30. You know, I gotta hold my limits.
We've said it before, but maybe as good of a first half as I think I've seen here in terms of excitement, in terms of action, in terms of goals. 2-1 at the break.
Yeah, I mean, you got to wonder, you know, what changes are going to be made for both sides. I think at this point, you know, we really didn't have a chance to see who was warming up or if any changes have been made for either teams. Maybe keep it the same right now because I think it was a decent, you know, last 5-10 minutes or so for both sides with some opportunities.
Halftime stats for you. Seattle has a 7-6 lead in shots. The Spirit have 3 corners. Spirit have been whistled offside 3 times. None for Seattle so far. Just 3 fouls called, 2 on the Reign, 1 on the Spirit, and no cards. I mean, that's the kind of half you want to see. A lot of action, a lot of goals, not a lot of fouls, not a lot of chippy play, just 11 on 11, good stuff.
Yeah, you know, haven't been many fouls. Nothing has really been dangerous. I think the one was, you know, a high boot by Ortega on Fletcher. But other than that, you want this sort of game to not be decided by the officials. And yeah, you can say, you know, they did make a decision on the PK from Matheson, but going over the replays, I absolutely think that was, you know, penalty kick worthy. So it's been a great 45 minutes, and I'm super pumped for the next half.
Lineups remaining the same, it seems, for now. So for Washington, it's Harrison goal, Reynolds, Johnson, Oyster, and Church across the back. Salem, Nairn, and Krieger in the midfield. Matheson, Dunn, and Ortega up top. For Seattle, it's Solo in goal. Cox, Corsi, Barnes, and Fletcher across the back. Winters, Fishlock, and Reed in midfield. Little, Matthias, and Rapinoe up top, although that front 6 is pretty fluid. You know, Winters is going to hold in front of that back 4. Everybody else is going to really interchange and cause problems.
Yes.
Second half underway, Seattle will kick off, going towards the scoreboard end, trying to preserve this 2-1 lead. And we'll say it again, the Spirit have to win to be in that 2-3 game in the playoffs. If they lose or if they tie, then we'll have a rematch at Memorial Stadium on Sunday between Seattle and Washington. Second straight year they'll meet in the semifinals.
Sure, and you know what? I think Mark Parsons is probably going to say, let's go for it. We have nothing to lose. We're already losing 2-1. Put the pressure on, see what we can get out of ourselves going forward. I'm guessing that's probably what he said. Definitely put it on and see if they can get a result out of it this evening.
Of course, under pressure from Nairn will knock it up the side, bumps over the head of Ellie Reed. Step in from Johnson forward, gives possession away to Fishlock, and left it comes for Cox. Rapinoe running at Whitney Church. Rapinoe coming inside, dodging 2 tackles, looking for options now as Krieger picks her up. Plays it into the 18 for Matthias. Matthias doubles back, lays it off for Winters. Left it comes for Cox. First time ball up the line for Kim Little. She'll make the run against Whitney Church. Runs it down. Little on the end line. On her right foot. Cross blocked by Church. Cox heads it back to Kim Little. Little posting up for Rapinoe. Scoop pass for Rapinoe. Appeal for offside's not given. Little's cross just past the foot of Ellie Reed. And Catherine Reynolds will finally get possession back with the Spirit and clear. That was like a hockey power play. You're just kind of holding on while the other team passes and looks for the correct angle to shoot.
But that's what the Spirit have to do. They have to be patient, keep numbers in, and see, make the rain be really good, which they have been so far this game.
While we were recapping that first half, they were recognizing the crew at the Maryland SoccerPlex for winning Field of the Year. And we can't say it enough. What a wonderful surface this team plays on. It always looks perfect. I always tell people the story of Alex Morgan here in year 1 of NWSL that said she'd only played on one grass surface that was better, and that was Old Trafford.
Oh, well, you'd expect that to be better. But, yeah, no, this is just a wonderful facility, and they do such a great job. With everything they have going on here, they really preserve this field nicely, for these games, for the Spirit. Going back to Freedom Days, they were here, W League Freedom Days, DC United Days. Every women's team has played on here except for, the WUSA Freedom.
Switch now for Barnes. Left-footed ball up the side. Too tall for Stephanie Cox, and the Spirit will get a throw. Ortega for Church, who chips it high into the sky, looking for Crystal Dunn. One instead in the air by Lauren Barnes. Fishlock in tight space gives away to Dunn, who dances her way to get it to Krieger. Return pass for Dunn. Sliding tackle coming over from Barnes will give the Spirit a throw.
On that touch from Ellie Krieger, I was like, there's no way she's getting there. And turns on the Jets and she gets there.
If anybody can get there,
yeah,
it would be Crystal Dunn.
Right. I think I saw something, yesterday on Twitter about the best Dunn puns or something like that. Dunstoppable, Dunbelievable.
Believe me, if she ties the scoring record or breaks the scoring record, you're going to hear a couple from me.
Right, okay.
I'm not done thinking of ideas. One behind Kim Little, though, right now for the NWSL scoring record. There's Little now on the ball, the second leading scorer in the league so far this year. Dodging Krieger, playing it right. Reed back for Winters. Bumps into Salem, goes right. Cross blocked well by Matheson, and it'll be a throw for Seattle. The thing with Kim Little, too, last year was she scored 16 in the regular season, and she scored 1 in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So really, if you count the playoffs, she's got 17. But she did it last year in a 24-game regular season. Dunn only had 20 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Little, left-footed shot, and a good save from Ashlyn Harris going to her left.
Yeah. And those are the saves that, I'm sure Ashlyn Harris was incredibly frustrated with the 2 goals that were scored. There's really nothing she could have done in the first half with the 2 shots that she faced. So, that's something that she probably needs to just make sure, she lets her team know, I'm here. I'll save the day if I have to.
Direct route, and Ortega chests that down beautifully, gets tangled up and draws the foul. Great work there from Nigerian. Mm-hmm. And we're in Nairn territory now with the Spirit down a goal.
And Ortega did a great job at using her body against Barnes. I mean, that's really all you can ask for as a striker. You know, when you're 1v3 or 1v4, just bring the ball down, hold it, you know, see if the rest of the team can join. But, you know, she drew the foul.
Christine Nairn in her 65th career NWSL appearance, trying to score her 6th goal of the year. And Hope Solo knows well the danger. 4 in the wall, which is now being backed up to the edge of the 18, and really Fishlock makes a 5th as she's a little bit off. Kim Little standing behind directing traffic here. And no pretensions here from the Spirit. It's going to be Christine Nairn. Nobody else even near it.
Left foot, far post.
Off the wall. That's cheating if it hits the wall.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Corner kick for the Spirit.
And that's never, I mean, obviously Hope Solo is very capable of making a save if that's on frame, but we certainly have seen Christine Nair scored from that position both this year and last year.
And that was ticketed low. Once it bent her on the wall, it was going to go low to the corner.
Sure.
Nairn's corner this time. Driven towards the far post. Headed out by Winters for Seattle. Second ball being fought for by Church, who will drop it back to Catherine Reynolds. Right-footed service from Reynolds towards Salem, headed out by Barnes, and cleared by Jess Fishlock. Johnson, good ball right to pick out Nairn. Inside for Krieger, the 1-2 between the former Penn State players. Nairn will return it for Estelle Johnson. Left for Reynolds, inside again for Krieger. Return to Reynolds. Spirit left back has a little bit of space. It will give it back to Krieger again. They'll try the combination again. Inside it comes for Crystal Dunn. Dunn's cross towards Ortega, headed out. Salem. Matheson can't get a foot on it. Played through now, and the flag is up on Ortega, and it was going wide anyway.
Yeah, just a step behind. I actually don't think Ortega was expecting that ball to even get through.
Free kick will come here for Seattle in the 53rd minute.
But even if that did get through, I don't know if it was either Corsi or Cox, but whatever defender that was that got that touch in on the ball, that was very, very necessary if the flag wouldn't have gone up.
Seattle's readying their first change of the game. It's the Danish international Katrine Vi, who started the last time these two teams met here at the Plex. Ortega touching it back for Reynolds. Turn from Ortega. And a foul by Ortega. Free kick for Seattle. Early ball over Kim Little. And Oyster will be caught up by Ashlyn Harris. Quick roll for Church. Back in the 18 for Oyster. Church here. Off the thigh of Keelan Winters, and a smile from Winters as it goes out. We'll see Vi here.
Looking at Katrine Vi and the information we have on her, she comes from Brøndby, which is one of the top teams in Denmark, right behind Fortuna and Brøndby are typically the top teams in the 3F Liga over in Denmark. So she certainly plays, you know, at a high level there as well.
Megan Rapinoe is the player that makes way. She's got the game winner as things stand now. Her strike in the 25th minute after Jess Fishlock opened scoring in the 50th minute. Spear got one back from the penalty spot when Matheson drew the foul and then buried it in the 37th minute. Been a very entertaining match tonight. The regular season finale for both these clubs. The NWSL regular season ends tomorrow with Houston battling Chicago in that game at Toyota Park, the home of the Chicago Fire. So expect a bigger crowd than normal. And who wouldn't want to see the talent on display in that one?
Yeah.
Carly Lloyd, Kristen Press, Morgan Bryan, Klingenberg, the list goes on.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not being played right now. So we have the opportunity to watch it live.
And if the Spirit can pull this one out, I think just about everybody in the D.C. area will be wearing orange tomorrow and rooting for Houston. As they need the dash to get a result to get the Spirit a home game if the Spirit can get a win here. Still an uphill task with 35 minutes left down a goal.
And you have to wonder if Mark Parsons, actually we just saw his whole bench stand up and get some runs in. But you have to wonder what he's going to do. Is he going to tweak the lineup? Is he going to maybe go to a 3-back? Because it really doesn't matter if they score again. You really have to go for that equalizer at this point in the game.
Vi. Shot! Great save from Ashlyn Harris.
Yeah.
Katrine Vi's first touch of the game was a beauty, but Ashlyn Harris's was even better.
I was just about to say, what a great first touch by Vi, but what an even better save by Ashlyn Harris.
Sliced it to the top corner, and Ashlyn Harris at full extension tipped it over.
Yeah.
Great ball in.
And Ashlyn Harris did a great job at keeping her feet moving. She got that top hand across, just tipped it right over the crossbar. That is the technique you want to see from your keeper on every single save.
With Rapinoe off, it'll be Stephanie Cox taking the corner for Seattle. Serve in towards the 6, headed by Megan Oyster for Washington. And of course, he'll let it roll for a throw-in. I believe it's Seattle's ball. Finally, Vi will step up to take it. Now she'll leave it. And the referee will show a yellow to Vi for time wasting. Don't often see that at 57th minute.
Yeah. Well, and only being her, 3rd minute in the match?
Vi working a little bit faster now, finds the feet of Winters. And now Barnes. Switch, and Matthias can't keep it alive. And of course, you wonder, it's been a game wide on fouls, but now you've picked up a yellow for something kind of silly. Mm-hmm. You want to be a little bit more careful now if you're Katrine Vi. Harris yelling out instructions, knocking it forward. Gives away to Winters.
Keithlyn Winters, every single time I watch her play, she just impresses me more and more. Just the touch she had from the Harris ball, and then just volleying it to her right back. That just takes great skill.
Ashlyn Harris still not happy with her team, and we can hear it with our headsets on.
Yeah.
Yelling, "Let's go."
Yeah.
Shyness is not a quality of Ashlyn Harris. Free kick for the Spirit.
But you know what? A lot of times you want that from your goalkeeper because they can see everything. They can see what's wide open. She's probably a little frustrated because there wasn't much she could have done, on those shots and the 2 shots that went into the back of the net in the first half.
I mean, this is a player that took a throw in because she wanted to see the pace of the game extended a couple weeks ago.
I love the passion of Ashlyn Harris.
Ball through for Dega too far, and Hope Solo, another player with plenty of passion between the pipes, will come out and get it.
And that's the type of passion we see from Howard when he's in goal for the men's national team as well. You just love it.
Currently fighting to get a spot back, Tim Howard, after a sabbatical for the national team. Matheson into space for Crystal Dunn. Dunn will get to it against Cox. Dunn on the right side, looking for help. Shot is blocked by Cox, who held her ground very well.
Yeah, especially against somebody like Crystal Dunn. Cox just has to be smart, keeps her feet moving, just slides in at the right moment to get the deflection out of bounds for the corner.
The mongoose to Dunn's cobra on that play, just holding things up. Corner for Nairn here in the 60th minute. The serve from Nairn towards the far post. Headed, I believe, by Oyster on the way through. Little saying exactly that, and it will be a Seattle throw.
I had a little bit, I had a good amount of pace, but the distance was just a bit much for any Spirit to get a clean look on it.
So the 60th minute is when Mark Parsons has sometimes thought about making that first change. Has not done it yet, and the full complement of subs are stretching. Rassa certainly is someone we've seen in this situation. Huster, someone that can come on if you want a little bit more defense in the midfield. And I think Akopi's the wild card, the Nigerian. We haven't seen too much of her. Vi's switch, a really nice ball. Wade into space for Little by Reed. Reynolds over to play it, and we'll give up a set piece here deep. I believe it will be a corner. And it will be. Again, it'll be Stephanie Cox coming over to take it. And this is the nice thing about having your outside back take corners on the other side as well, is you can waste a little bit of time, and it's legit. You know, she's got to get over there from the other side. When you've got a lead, you can burn some time. Be a left-footed serve from the veteran. Harris out to get it, got a piece of it with Kendall Fletcher on the doorstep, and it will be a Seattle throw, I believe. Thought the referee pointed the other way. Nobody's in a hurry to take this one, to be sure.
I mean, they know it's their throw, right? Or I don't understand.
Cox is coming all the way over to take this one, too.
I think that's what they were waiting for, honestly.
Header by Krieger. Brought down by Christine Nairn. Dropped back to Salem. Under pressure, she'll drop it for Oyster, and a good right-footed clearance first time from Oyster under pressure. Posting up is Crystal Dunn, and she nearly turned that, and I'm not sure how. Because Crystal Dunn, that's why.
And you have to wonder about, Dunn, when she does re-enter with the national team, where will she be playing? Will she be playing in that outside back position? Will she be playing as a target striker? You just never know with her because she is so versatile. Well, where she would really fit in with the national team.
Well, and I think on paper, you look at the national team going to the World Cup and say, well, forward's definitely their strongest position.
Sure.
But then those forwards didn't really score a lot of goals.
Right.
They scored timely goals. Certainly Wambach scored a big one against Nigeria.
Huge, yes.
But it was Lloyd providing a lot of the offense and Holiday, So maybe there is a place for an informed Crystal Dunn if those forwards continue to have injury issues. LaRue's out right now.
Yeah.
Morgan's just not coming back. Maybe that could be a spot that she could hold for maybe Olympic qualifying or down the road.
And with that, on the opposite side, away from the national team, but onto Seattle Reign, obviously Abby Wambach's not here, and she is going to be, rostered to this team next year. What a huge difference she'll probably make for this roster as well.
Wouldn't it be great if she was like, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm going to come back for the semifinal and the final.
Yeah, here I am, guys.
Hit long by Church. Tracking it is Crystal Dunn. Marked this time by Barnes. Dunn turning one a dime, saying, no, no, no. You're not going to get it from me right now. Return pass from Nairn. Cross from Dunn. Dummy through by Matheson. The shot is just wide from Ortega.
I just got caught totally being a fangirl and saying, ooh. But, I mean, that was just a fantastic effort by Crystal Dunn to play that ball. Ortega was just off by a couple of inches. It would have been a great goal for Ortega. She could have put that in near post.
Goal kick for Solo. Crowd certainly back in this one. Header one by Krieger. Ortega. Turned over to Fishlock, but Salem gets it back. Good turn from Aaron, and she is fouled. That chance again. Good patience from Nairn and Crystal Dunn. Dunn had space to get across off, played a really good one. And a smart play from Matheson to dummy it. I think Solo might have made that save.
Oh, yeah.
She was in a good position.
Yeah, she certainly had it covered.
But I think, had she saved it, I think there would have been a rebound, and Matheson was right there. Harry Rasso getting instructions. She'll enter this match on her birthday and try and change things.
And you got to wonder who she's going to go in for. Is it going to be Matheson? Because she really hasn't seen much of the ball, I don't think, this half. So you use Rasso's pace up top with Ortega and Dunn.
Well, and I think Matheson is still not somebody that can play 90 minutes every week. Still coming back from that injury from last year. Rather have her for 90 next Sunday against whoever the Spirit play than 90 here. And a game that certainly is important, but they're in the playoffs. The more important game is next week. Ortega loose on the left side. Matheson in the middle. Dunn making the run towards the far post. Ortega's cross inside for Nairn, just a little bit off the mark, and Winters breaks it up. Second chance for Krieger. She'll pick out Dunn. Good tackle from Cox to win it, and now the counter's on for Seattle. Vi. Good job there by Dunn to circle back and concede a throw-in. We'll see Rasso now.
Washington substituted in the 66th minute. Entering game number 20, Haley Russo.
And it's Ortega coming off.
Number 14, Franny Ortega.
I think she's had a good performance. I think the second half has been better for her. I think she's been able to see a little bit more of the ball than she did in the first half. Just a couple of near misses both in the first and the second half here tonight. Just not able to capitalize.
This is like for like.
Yeah.
Speedy forward.
Speedy.
For a speedy forward. Haley Rasso on her 21st birthday looking for a nice present. Whistle here. Offside the call.
I believe it was on Mathis.
Yeah, official in the referee on the far side says she started and came back and then worked her way back on. So Spirit will take that, restart. Salem. Switch right for Dunn. Marked by Vi. Winters picks up the charge. Switches blocked by Winters, who limped a bit after taking the impact of that one, but looks like she's okay. Good ball from Johnson, left. Reynolds. Allie Krieger. Salem. Vi pressuring well, but Oyster gets on the ball again. Chip, though, is behind Allie Krieger, who I believe she has some help, and now the counter's on for Fishlock. Little. Through ball, and just offside is Merritt Mathias. Excuse me, Allie Reed. Free kick for the Spirit.
And if the Spirit want to keep the rain off the scoreboard here in the second half, Oyster just got to be a little bit better with her service. I'm not really sure if she was looking to play Allie Krieger there, but really, they're trying to switch the point of attack, and she goes back right where the ball just came from. She's got to be a little bit smarter, maybe try to find the width, see if Church or Nairn, or you can find Dunn on the opposite side of the field.
Reynolds up the line for Matheson. Ball into space for Rasso. Her first touch at this match. Going against Corsi. Cross is harmlessly handled by Kim Little. Clearance blocked by Rasso. Little shielding, looking for help. Dropping it back. And the Rain get out of danger for now. Tangle there and a foul against the Spirit. Free kick will go Seattle's way in the 69th minute. All the goals in the first half so far tonight. Jess Fishlock in the 15th minute. Megan Rapino, who has since been substituted in the 25th minute. Then the Spirit got one back in the 37th minute. Diana Matheson drew and then finished a penalty kick. And that's where we've been. Fun match. Very entertaining match through 69 minutes and change.
I think in the last about 5 minutes or so, there really hasn't been many opportunities for either side. It's really been back and forth. I think the best of the half was Ortega missing near post for the Spirit, and then Vi missing, the good save from Ashlyn Harris on the far post.
Ball inside. Matheson brings it down. Plays it right for Christine Nairn. Lots of space for Nairn. Whistle here, and the Spirit will take a free kick as Matheson was taken down. And Mark Parsons, hands on his face. He wanted advantage there, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, you certainly do not want that to be a foul for you, because Christine Nairn had nobody on her. She was running across the end line. It would have been a great service across. It's just through the run of play, you want to see that sort of goal scored, or that sort of opportunity build.
Christine Nairn's putting that case right now. I'm sure she'll love this free kick too, but man, she had probably 10 yards of space on that side. She could have attacked the goal. She could have crossed that ball. Instead, it's a free kick.
I certainly would have been frustrated with that call.
Five-player wall again for Seattle. Nairn's free kick low off the wall. She'll pick it up on the sideline and let it go for a throw-in.
And right as she was taking that, I think Fishlock had actually great positioning because, you know, she was slightly away from the wall and really did not allow Nairn to curl it around like she typically likes to.
Nice header by Church up the line for Crystal Dunn. Walking the tightrope against Matthias and winning the corner. Kirsten Dahlstrom's ready to be the second change for Seattle, but that'll wait till after the set piece, I believe. A rare match, but the Spirit have had the majority of the corner kicks. Can Nairn make one count? Towards the far post. Headed down and wide.
Was that Church that got on the end of it?
Yeah, and
or Estelle Johnson?
It was Church.
Okay.
She was open. She had a good look.
Mm-hmm. And she kind of went. She really just put it, you know, down towards the ground. Really, on any sort of service, you always want to go back in the direction the ball came from. She should have tried to maybe get it back towards the near post of Hope Solo.
It'll be Dahlstrom from Matthias, and Dahlstrom's another Swiss Army knife who can play anywhere, but I think she's going to sit in more of a midfield or defender position and help lock down this 2-1 lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they certainly need to just protect the lead at this point. They've had good opportunities, but really, you know, not great so far this half for the Reign.
Hope Solo's goal kick. Won well by Angela Salem in the air. Second ball headed back and forth. Knocked on now by Dunn. Corsi plays it forward. Salem for Krieger. For Nairn. Left it'll come for the speedy Rasso, who is onside. Cross from Rasso. Nearly got through to Matheson, but headed out by Cox instead. Now it's Vi fighting for it. Knocked up by Salem. Cox for Vi. Shielding against Matheson and knocking it across midfield. Good ball into space as well for Reed. Oysters in a better position, and the flag goes up again for offside. Whitney Church wants a ball, and she'll get it. Spirit running out of time here. Again, we'll say it. They need to win to not finish fourth. A tie or a loss, and we'll have a rematch of these two clubs at Memorial Stadium in Seattle next Sunday night. And it'll be Chicago hosting FC Kansas City in the early semifinal next Sunday, if things stay the way they are.
Yeah, and if they do, you know, the Spirit are no strangers going into Memorial Stadium because they were there, you know, last year in the semifinal round. And I definitely think it was one of the better games I've seen for the Spirit against the Reign, obviously other than the 3-0 win earlier this season.
Ball into space for Fishlock. Harris off her line will swoop in and dodge the slide there from Fishlock, and I don't think Ashlyn Harris appreciated that.
No, I certainly would not have.
Switch right. Brought down well by Matheson. Dunn in the middle. Will play it off of her shoulder, but off the mark this time, and Barnes will clear it forward only as far as Whitney Church. Laura Harvey gesticulating frantically on the sideline for a mark to be picked up. Dunn shaken up as play will continue. Bad ball there from Oyster, and a stumble from Reynolds allows Seattle to get possession back. It's Dahlstrom. Space now for Little. Spirit slow to react. Back again for Kim Little. Marked by Estelle Johnson. Little wanted a foul there. She's not going to get it, and the Spirit will come out with it. Rasso trying to shake Kendall Fletcher. Does well to find Allie Krieger in the middle. Nairn. Crystal Dunn. Good tackle from Winters, and she's shaken up, and that'll be a foul against the Spirit, and I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't usually like to say a player, you know, dove or played. Yeah, I think the official just got played there. I really don't think there was any sort of contact in that tackle.
Well, if anything, it was a clean challenge. It was just a 50-50 battle for the ball. Here it is again. Yeah.
Oh, no touch.
I don't see anything
no,
there.
No touch. Yeah, that's a tough one. She sold it well though. Sometimes, you see that at every level.
Crystal Dunn back on the ball. Lays it up beautifully for Krieger. Inside now for Matheson in the box. Back heel for Dunn. Broken up by Barnes and cleared. Rain trying to get out of their own 18. Cox for Little. Winters now. Step and win from Estelle Johnson. Rasso now turning. Contact there from Dahlstream and the whistle blows. Free kick for the Spirit.
And I think now going into the last 15 minutes or so, you're really going to hear the crowd getting into it. I think the physicality of the game is going to continue to pick up. I think we're in for a treat here.
Well, and I think these two teams are starting to get a little bit chippy.
Yeah.
And if this is a rematch next week, that's just going to carry over.
Well, if you see you guys can't see it from where you are, on YouTube, but from where we are, the coaches are just going crazy down on the sideline, both Laura Harvey and Mark Parsons. So if the players are feeding off that, it's certainly going to get pretty chippy.
Christine Nairns, service, left-footed, towards the far post, towards Oysters, rises for it, and heads it just over.
And anytime Christine Nairn's on the ball, it's going to be a great service. And Megan Oyster did do a great job at getting herself in the right position, but, just a little bit lower, and I think she obviously would have had it. It looked as if almost she kind of turned her back, so she really didn't know where the ball was going.
Oyster got a little bit of space off of Rachel Corsi,
yeah.
and then, just
it almost kind of looked like a deflection as well off of Corsi, because Oyster kind of put her head down, and then it deflected up.
I feel like this one's got another goal in it. Either way.
Yeah.
Going to be a good finish. But how many times have we not said that here? I mean, the Spirit have played, with maybe one or two exceptions, some really exciting games this year. And so is Seattle, no question. Little. Vi. Back again for Kim Little. Switch. Brought down in the box. Left-footed shot right at Ashlyn Harris. Kirsten Dahlstream had a chance to put the game away. Oyster. Does well to find Nairn. Tangle there and a foul against Jess Fishlock. Nairn's slow to get up.
I think we've seen more fouls in the last 3 minutes or so than we did all of the first half.
Here's the save again from Ashlyn Harris. Good positioning, good body control. Held that one nicely even though it was hit hard. Vi on the left side. Back for Cox. Barnes switching it up for Corsi. Winters now. Corsi. Stepping by Matheson. Gives away though in the midfield to Estelle Johnson. Referee with a deflection there.
A little 1-2 with the official.
Foul here. I believe we're going to see a card and it will be a yellow to Angela Salem for that push there right in front of the referee.
Was it Salem or Johnson?
I was unsure too, but Salem was the one that was closest to the card, so we'll see what the official. PA announcement is Estelle Johnson.
Okay.
So second booking, first towards the Spirit. Switch left. Vi's touch is heavy, but she'll keep it in play. Cox pressured by Crystal Dunn. Vi again. Winters gives it away to Rasso, who steps by one, and then Fishlock steps in and blocks the pass.
At this point in the game, for both teams, I think this is kind of what we're going to see over the next 10 minutes. is just these longer services being played for the Reign, maybe more of clearances for the Spirit, more of just trying to kind of dump it in behind the back line and see if they can get, you know, a half chance off of any one of the strikers getting in behind.
Again, Seattle will take their time with the throw in up a goal here in the 81st minute. Stumble there, allows Little to get on the ball. Blocked by Reynolds. And it will be Seattle's 4th corner of the match, and again, Stephanie Cox will come from the other side to take it. Mariah Bullock is stretching in the coach's area. It looks like she's about to hand in her card, and makes sense. Defensive mid, come on to steal the resolve with this defense a little bit. And Seattle has struggled in the final 15 minutes. They've allowed 7 goals. It's their worst 15-minute stretch defensively this year. Some of that, though, is the team's really pressing when they're down, like the Spirit are right now.
Right.
Header right at the line from Winters, and Reed nearly got a piece of it. I'm not sure Ashlyn Harris found that one right in her hand.
Yeah, I think that was almost like a blind save, but she did a good job at kind of swatting it down to the ground and made the second, and she was able to get right on top of the second ball.
Krieger serve, and again, she said, Danielle, 3 players watching Crystal Dunn knock this one out for a throw.
Everywhere she goes, there's 2 to 3 players around her, which I'm sure is frustrating for her, but also, you know, probably kind of nice knowing, you know, that's how much respect the other team is giving to her.
For another Spirit throw in, and so Mark Parsons and Lloyd Yaxley discussing strategy, and I believe the call is going to be made for Okobi to come on. She's tightening the socks, getting the shin guards ready.
And you have to wonder, do they take out a defensive player, push her up, go to like a 3-4-3?
Reed evading Oyster, going right now for Dahlstream. Cutting back well, and Reynolds is Kirsten Dahlstream, but the pass inside for Little is blocked. Rain will retain possession. Winters will try it left-footed. Goes wide of the near post, and again, Ashlyn Harris is irate at her teammates. Harris waiting for everybody to get forward before she releases this goal kick. Floats towards Allie Krieger, who wins it nicely for Matheson. Juggles it down for herself. Shields against Barnes, and now goes right for Dunn. Dunn going inside on Cox. Stumble there. She nearly played it for herself. She wanted to go with Krieger, but
slightly
off the mark.
Behind,
but then Dunn's speed nearly made something happen anyway.
Yeah, just slightly behind Krieger.
Rasso fighting for it against Fletcher. Fletcher keeps it in. Touched by Little, past Estelle Johnson. Can she run it down the sideline? No.
Kim Little is making runs out of the midfield as if it's the first 5 minutes of the game. She does not look fatigued at all. And I really think, there are a couple Reign players out there. Fishlock with her hands on her knees. I think that was Fletcher with her hands on her knees. But, Kim Little's just kind of running gun at this point of the game, which is great to see.
It'll be a forward for a midfielder, as I believe Nairn's going to come off. They showed her 7, but she's still on the field, and now Mark Parsons has changed his mind. It's going to be Whitney Church coming off, I think.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought he would do, just go to a 3-back, and now all they're going to have to do is play balls forward.
Meanwhile, it's Bullock for Reed for Seattle, so like you say, Whitney Church is off. On comes the speedy Nigerian, Ngozi Okobi. Fishlock. Speaking of players that look like it's the first 5 minutes of the game. Gives that one away there to Krieger. And now you have Krieger as well that can tuck in and be that outside back when you're defending. Early ball from Okobi looking for Matheson. Broken up by Barnes. Controlled now by Vi for Fishlock. Ball in for Little. Harris off her line will come out of the 18 and knock it out for a throw-in. And if he had knocked it out for a throw, it would have gone right to Dahlstream. So that was a good play.
Absolutely. But Estelle Johnson has to do a better job at not just watching the ball go over her head. She, wasn't dropping fast enough. That's something she can maybe sniff out as well.
Too tall for Dunn. As Bullock's just going to sit in front of that back four and win balls like that. Whistle here and a foul against Jacoby. Free kick for Seattle.
I'm not sure if it was considered a foul or if they were saying it was a handball, because it did kind of roll up her body to her shoulder, but it was not intentional whatsoever.
Fishlock will just knock it out of bounds. Mission accomplished with the time off the clock.
Yeah,
She's just going to knock it
sure.
out. Quick goal kick to Krieger. Direct for Dunn. Turns, tangles with Barnes, gets by Barnes. Cross is deflected. Off the line comes Solo. Appeal for handball, and it's going to be a foul against the Spirit. 2 Spirit players are down.
No, it's Hope Solo.
Oh, it's Solo that's down. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
And is that Rasso? And it seemed as if Rasso just lost her footing. I don't think it was an intentional, push into Hope
she
Solo
was just
at
going
all.
for the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was a 50-50 ball. Hope Solo did a great job at coming out and smothering it, but it seemed as if Rasso just lost her footing and I guess really had nowhere else to go but to fall on top of Hope.
Spirit readying their third change. It looks like it's going to be DaCosta for, I think I saw a 4, so it's going to be, a 6. It's going to be a DaCosta for Salem.
Okay. And Rasso she just received a yellow card for the contact.
Solo's back on her feet as we'll look at that play again. And you can see, definitely not a handball on Lauren Barnes. So, good job by the officials there. We'll see the change now for the Spirit officially is that it'll be DaCosta who scored the last time these two teams met, coming on for Angela Salem. So the last change for Washington, Rasso's at the 4th official. She'll be way back on momentarily once play resumes. If you couldn't tell from the standings that the Spirit wanted to win this one, you look at their subs.
Yeah.
You bring on Rasso, you bring on Jacoby, and you bring on DaCosta. 3 attacking players.
And why not? This is exactly what you want to go for in the last couple of minutes.
Reynolds back for Harris. Chip tie. Amanda DaCosta will watch Winters head it. Brought down now by Little. Nairn trying to get a foot in. Little circling, going left for Vi. Drop back to Barnes. Chip forward and one in the air by Amanda DaCosta. Play now into space. Great touch from Matheson. Cox, though, has tracked it nicely, and she'll go back to Hope Solo. Dunn started that attack with a really nice ball, but Cox showing her experience and her talent getting to that one. Good angle. Appeal for a handball there on Nairn, and it is finally given.
And I honestly don't think the official was going to call it until all the Seattle players raised their hands and said, hand.
Little off the restart. Comes right. Dahlstream for Bullock. Scooped into the corner for Little. Turns on Reynolds. In the box now is Kim Little. She'll walk towards the corner. Kill precious seconds. Play it wide again. Winters shielding. Finally it comes out of the corner, but it'll be a Seattle throw again. Into stoppage time now, and we'll have 5 minutes of it. So again, the Spirit need to score twice, or else the playoff field will be set when this one goes final. And we'll have all that for you post-game. Kobe heads it out. Spirit, I think, would like to at least get a goal and preserve that undefeated mark at home. Nice little thing to put on the flyers for next year, the promotions for next year.
And what did we say about this? If the Spirit lost, we lost our tent today.
Right.
Up here at the top of the press box. It was our good luck tent.
The sheer amount of fans and vendors meant that we lost our tent.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
Dahlstream. Out for a throw-in. Rasso dodging a tackle. Can't beat the second one, though. Seattle will win possession back. And again, they'll work towards the sideline. Kill some time. Little. Takes it off of a Kobe. Plays it across, looking for Vi. Broken up and now cleared by the Spirit, but not very well. Does find Dunn, though. That's the one you want to find. Heavy touch, though. Fishlock steps in and wins it for Winters. Dahlstream. Fletcher for Corsi.
There really hasn't been many opportunities for either side over the last, I would say, 10, 15 minutes or so.
Which is what Seattle wants. Slower pace, keep the ball, maintain the lead. Kendall Fletcher will take the throw in here in the 93rd minute.
And the Spirit are certainly struggling to get out of their defensive end right now.
Winters.
And you hear Ashlyn Harris yelling, "Hey, it's too easy," which she's absolutely right. You know, they're down a goal. They need 2 more goals, you know, to solidify a home bid for the playoffs. And they just need to be battling right now to win that ball and clear it, which they did just battle, and I believe there was a foul called.
Yeah, a little too much battling.
Yeah. Well, it was 3v1 in that moment.
But you have to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get a cross here, of course they're going to play it short. But if you could have gotten a cross and Ashley Harris got her gloves on it, then that's okay. Dumping here, the Spirit will finally get possession back. But yeah, it's going to be 2 goals in 2 minutes. Tough task.
Yeah.
Against the league's #1 team. Oyster.
Everything has to be forward at this point.
Vi, who's had a really good shift since coming on as a sub. Could have easily scored their 3rd goal if not for a great save from Ashlyn Harris.
I'm very impressed with her today.
Over Matheson. Knocked by Cox, given away to Krieger. DaCosta for Matheson. DaCosta will run for it, but Barnes is there in time, knocks it out for a throw-in. Matheson wants the ball immediately. Quickly takes the throw for Crystal Dunn. A Kobe. Sliding tackle from Bullock. DaCosta's cross towards the far post, too tall for Rasso, and now for a goal kick. Which Hope Solo will be in no hurry to take.
Yep, take her sweet time.
Be quite a year for Solo, Rapinoe, win the World Cup and WSO double. That's the goal for Seattle. Dominant regular season last year, and as you mentioned earlier, they had to be so disappointed to lose the final in Seattle to FC Kansas City last year. Motivated this year to make sure that doesn't happen in Portland.
Yeah. And I think both teams had essentially the same start as they did last year with, you know, Seattle just absolutely dominating the ranks last season, and then FCKC kind of having a slow start last year. Same thing, you know, this year as well. But really finding themselves, you know, in a great position now going forward into the playoffs.
Pass from Dunn off the mark. And that will be the final touch. So, the Washington Spirits' unbeaten run at home comes on the final day of the regular season, but more importantly, they will travel to Seattle next Sunday for the semifinal game.
Right, and you know what? They definitely battled to especially put that one ball in the back of the net to go 2-1 in the first half. But some of the opportunities that they had in the second half, they just had to be a little bit better on the ball to try to finish it, especially past a great solo performance this evening.
So before we recap this one, the playoff field is now set. Next Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, it'll be FC Kansas City, the 3rd seed, at Chicago, the 2nd seed. And then in the nightcap at Memorial Stadium at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the 2nd straight year, it's the Washington Spirit as the 4th seed against the Seattle Reign as the 1 seed.
Sure. And like I said earlier in their broadcast, they, the Spirit had a great game when they went out and played at Memorial Stadium last season. So, obviously not what they were hoping for, but, they can put on a good performance and maybe get a result next week, because right now, that's all that matters.
Turn our eyes back to this one. It was a lot of goals early. Just Fishlock, world-class, 15th minute, 1-0. Megan Rapinoe, world-class, long distance, 25th minute. 2-0 there. We said at the time we thought if the Spirit could get one back before the half, it would be game one, and it was. Matheson draws the penalty kick in the 37th minute, chips it to the opposite side of Hope. So a little grin there from Hope as Matheson fooled her there. It was 2-1, and the Spirit had chances in the second half, but I thought Seattle did a really good job of killing off this game in the last 5 or 10 minutes defensively, keeping possession, not allowing Dunn to get one-on-one or even 1v2 where she can cause problems.
Yeah, anywhere Dunn was on the field this evening, she had pressure on her. She rarely had the opportunity to turn and face and run at the back line, or really she didn't get behind the back line as much as she typically would for the Spirit. But, kudos to the Reign. They came in here with a great game plan. They capitalized on 2 great opportunities and go away, obviously always having, the 4 seed coming to the 1 seed.
Let's dig into highlights from this one as Seattle comes in and wins 2-1. Reign really forced a great save out of Harris there. Ortega's body control drew a foul there. Christine Nairn had a couple good Wilson free kicks, and that might have been the best one as that was deflected by the wall. Chance here inside, a really good tackle coming back from Cox, who had a good game containing Ortega and Dunn and company. Seattle attacked well, and Vi, the substitute, had the best look, forcing a punching save from the right paw of Ashlyn Harris. Spirit were able to get Dunn loose for a rare occasion here. A good cross across the face. Their best chance, I think, to tie this one. Ortega just missed wide. This was the chance for Megan Oyster off the free kick. And as you said, Daniel, I think Corsi might have got the last piece of that one, but it's so tough to tell in the moment. Harris made one more big save to keep it 2-1, and then was able to save off of Keelan Winter's attempt here. Little got loose off of the line, came Harris to knock it out for a throw-in, and you saw right there, Seattle did a great job as Megan Oyster and Josephine Chukwanonye will show the banner to the crowd saying, "Thank you, Spirit family." What a great home season for this club as they finish their campaign at the Plex with 6 wins, just the 1 loss tonight, and 3 ties.
Yeah, and again, looking at the progress that this club has made from year 1 to year 3, especially here at home, it's just been Mark Parsons has really done his homework and has been able to put together a great side, and especially making it for the 2nd year in a row to the playoffs. Unfortunately, having to go play Seattle in Seattle, but that this is what you hope for at game 1, being in this position where you're competing for the championship.
Wow, and what Seattle has done, 7th place in year 1, and now back-to-back shields.
Sure.
And you now have, I believe, the bottom 3 teams. Actually, Chicago was 5th the first year. They're in the playoffs for the first time. First year, Seattle was 7th. They won the Shield 2 years in a row. Washington was dead last. Now they made the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Yeah, so
great
kudos
job
to both coaches.
Great job by Rory Dames, by Laura Harvey, and by Mark Parsons to turn these 3 teams into playoff teams and championship contenders. And then Kansas State with Viking and offseason just keep it rolling on.
Exactly. So excited for the game tomorrow, and then in the next couple of weeks with the semifinals coming up.
Final stats on this one: Seattle outshoots Washington 13-10. The Spirit had a 6-4 edge in corner kicks. After 3 fouls getting whistled in the first half, there were 14 in the second half. 9 against the Spirit, 8 against the Reign. 2 yellow cards both ways. But the difference, the 2 goals from the Blonde Wizards in the Seattle Arsenal. Finished lock in the 15th minute. Rapinoe in the 25th. Matheson getting one back for the Spirit in the 37th minute. Well, Danielle, 3 years in the books for us as well. It's been a joy to work with you again.
I'm sad going from, our first broadcast in preseason to now, where did the time go? It was a very, I think, quick season for us and, looking forward, I guess, to next March.
Huge thanks as well to our technical crew, our camera people, our highlight operators, everybody that has made things for us so easy and so much fun and brought the NWSL to you this year. And we look forward to being fans and watching the Spirit go from that 4 seed to a championship hopefully in a couple of weeks.
I guess thank you for obviously, Soccer Girl Probs here today, but everyone that's come to be our halftime guest and everyone that's really put in the time to help this broadcast, and definitely everybody that's just watching on YouTube, because we wouldn't be here without you. And it was a great season. It was a lot of fun, and again, looking forward to next year.
All right, so the final score here, once again, the Seattle Reign 2, the Washington Spirit 1. These two teams will meet in the playoffs again next Sunday at 9:30 Eastern Time. It will be Kansas City at Chicago in the other NWSL semifinal. So, signing off for the season, for Danielle Malagara and Michael Minnick, thank you so much for watching this year, and we'll see you in 2016, year 4 for Women's Pro League. It's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. We've never seen year 4 before. But can't wait already.
Well, goodbye. Thank you again. And again, we'll see you next year.